All right, what happens after the triangles are congruent? And yep, I'm going to start up there. So you already know triangle WIS and triangle WEUP are congruent. You didn't give me any diagrams, Mr. Carlin. You don't need them. This is all I need right here. All I need. Can you tell me what parts are congruent of that triangle now? Can you tell me what sides and what angles are congruent? You don't need a diagram. You ready to go around the room? 6 different people? Oh, whoo. He's starting strong right off the bat. And I don't care if you give me angles or sides. Give me a pair that you know are congruent because the triangles are congruent. 10, give me one pair. There we go. W congruent to E. Why are they congruent? Because the triangles are congruent, and these are corresponding parts. Moving. 3.
Angle I and angle U.
Angle I and angle U. You guys are going easy on me here. Next. 11.
Angle
P. Yeah. All right, those 3 took the easy route there. All right, now we got to go sides. What sides are equal? Dig deep. Don't get nervous. 4.
Side WI is equal to EU.
Yep. WI and EU are congruent. And next, 6. No.
Okay. Line side IS is congruent to side UC.
Thank you. I'm not gonna. That was a disaster. I'm just gonna do the last one here. WS congruent to EP. This is going to be your proof statement today now. Prove S is congruent to P. Prove WS is congruent to EP. But I can't show this is true unless I know what about the triangles. They're congruent. So basically, we're taking our triangle proofs and making it one more step. Okay? So take a look at my first one I've given you here. Notice, I'm not looking for the triangles to be congruent. I want to know a pair of angles are congruent. Well, we can't prove the angles are congruent unless what? The angles aren't congruent unless the triangles are. So that's our first step. Get the triangles congruent so we could say the corresponding angles are congruent. Everyone see where we are here. That's not true, ACD congruent to BCD, unless the triangles are congruent. Oh, good thing we spent the last 2 days doing this. Let's write our givens in. And this is good practice for tomorrow. That's what I was talking about earlier. Even though this topic's not on there, I won't ask you to do this tomorrow on a proof. It's still good practice because we're proving triangles congruent. Okay, I'm going to follow my own advice I gave you yesterday. Don't write down statement number 2 until you got a plan in your mind. How are you going to prove these triangles congruent? Okay, if you want a quick chat with your group, go ahead. A quick chat with yourself, go ahead. How are we going to prove these triangles congruent? And then I'm just going to ask for some facts here. There we go. We got some chatter going on. This shouldn't be too bad.
ACD and BCD are congruent also. So that's be an angle aside. And it reflects it. Oh, we're proving an angle and triangle. I see.
Think you guys have a method? Okay, well, in the givens, take a look. I gave you guys a pair of sides, right? In the givens, CA congruent to CB. So you need to give me 2 more pairs of angles or sides. Where are they coming from? Talk to me. 2. What else you got?
CD is congruent.
Oh, that guy. Yep. CD congruent to itself. Reflexive. That gives me another pair of sides. And then what else do you guys see here that's true? 8, what else is true here? Why is that? Watch your mouth. I don't see that word there. Watch your mouth. Is that what's in the givens?
Yeah.
All right. Let's not put in words that aren't there. Definition of a midpoint. There's your third side. Oh, I feel so bad, kids, that you just can't copy down the proof statement. You're going to have to do one on your own here with the triangle statement. Not just make it up. Make sure it matches up. Make it up and match it up, right? Make it up and match it up. So let's see if I go triangle ACD, and again, it doesn't have to match mine. If I go ACD, I'm going to have to go BCD. It's got to match up. Sorry, you can't just copy it off the proof statement. What's the method? Why? 8, what's my method? There you go. Way to redeem yourself. Side, side, side. Now here's where we get to the new part. Now that the triangles are congruent, any of the corresponding parts are congruent, correct? Including angle ACD congruent to angle BCD. Oh boy, I can just imagine the complaining and the whining that's about to happen. Are you ready for the reason? These two are corresponding, C-O-R-R. Yeah, corresponding parts, right? These are corresponding parts in, what do you know about the triangles? Corresponding parts in congruent triangles are congruent. Go ahead. I'll give you your 15 seconds of wine time. All right. How corresponding parts in congruent triangles are congruent. That was so much to write. Anybody want to just get it all out in the open? Go ahead. I won't see it. Won't look at you any different. Lucky for you, there's an abbreviation. A very famous abbreviation everybody uses that I'm going to allow you guys to use. But you better use it correctly. Ready? Corresponding parts in congruent triangles are congruent. CPCTC. Go ahead, 15 seconds, let it roll off the tongue. CPCTC. Again, if you want to use it, it better be in the correct order with the correct letters. You know, if all of a sudden it becomes CPTCZXY, we're going to have a problem. Okay? CPCTC. After proving triangles congruent. Okay? We okay? Going. CPCTC. Tell your friends about it. They'll know exactly what you're talking about. All right. It is not, but be careful. It is not a way to prove triangles congruent. You only have 4 right now. CPCTC, not a way to prove triangles congruent. Look at the proof statement. Oh, I'm asked to prove a pair of sides. Well, the sides aren't congruent unless the angles. I don't need the angles to be congruent to be the sides. I need the SQ and PR will not be congruent unless you do what? Thank you. Prove the triangles. I'm going to keep saying that every time. The sides are not congruent unless the triangles are. And this, I don't think this is a bad one. So I need to prove the triangle's congruent first. And look at you, jeez. I know this isn't an honors level one because the next one will be, but I gave you 2 pairs of angles already. 2 pairs of angles. Gotta have a side, right, Matt? Gotta have a side. There's no angle theorem. Oh, that would be an embarrassment if anybody writes that on their quiz tomorrow. I'll write you a short essay on why you're an embarrassment to the math community if anybody writes down angle tomorrow as a reason. Very short essay. 6, what am I missing to prove this triangle's congruent?
Maybe RS and PQ.
Okay, tell me the reason then.
Or
What you just told me. You got to back yourself up. Why is RS and PQ congruent then?
I don't know.
Because you don't have a, here's why you don't know, because they're not.
Oh, I know.
Relax. Look at those 2 triangles, Nira. They have something in common.
PS.
Okay, so what can we say about a side now?
They share a side, so we have to do reflexive.
So what am I going to write in my statements column?
PS is congruent to PS.
Those are the 2 sides you need. There's no way you're getting RS and PQ. Reflexive. All right. That gives me a pair of sides. Now I have enough to say the triangles are congruent, but make sure match them up. Let's see if I go triangle PRS. Let's see, PRS. I got to go SQP, I think. All right, what's my reason going to be? You only have 4. If you're having trouble determining if the side's in between or not, highlight one of the triangles, draw it out like we did yesterday, and mark it up. What's going to be the reason for those 2 triangles to be congruent? 2?
Angle side.
Yes, the side is not in between the 2 angles, so that's why I use angle side. Do we need further again, let me actually do further explanation without asking you guys. Look, you have to take one triangle only and say to yourself, is that side in between the 2 angles? And you guys can tell this side PS is not in between. So that's why I use angle side. Are we done now? No, I didn't ask you to prove the triangles. You needed the triangles congruent to say our sides, SQ congruent to PR. Now what's our new reason here if the parts are congruent? CPCTC. Or you can write out congruent parts and congruent triangles are congruent. Questions from you guys? Look, this was pretty, look, hold on before we go to the next one. This has been pretty easy. Has there even been a question of what 2 triangles you needed to prove congruent in these first 2? Absolutely not. Those 2, they're the only 2 in the diagram. Those 2, they're the only 2 in the diagram. But what happens now when I have a diagram that has multiple triangles in it? And I have to figure out on my own, which 2 do I need to prove congruent? All right, so I'll let you set up your givens and your markings, and we'll talk. Because in this diagram, we got to figure out which 2 triangles I got to prove congruent. And we don't assume which 2 either, because they look like it. Okay, how am I going to figure out which triangles do I need to prove congruent to get to the proof statement? Well, look at the angles I'm asking you to prove in the proof statement. ABI, find it. Everyone see where angle ABI is. ACI, everyone see where angle ACI is. Those are the 2 triangles you're trying to prove congruent. Okay, whatever angles or sides I'm asking you to prove, whatever triangles they belong to, those are the 2 I need to prove congruent. Do we see the 2 I need to prove congruent? It's going to be this one right here because it's got ABI, and this one right here because it's got ACI. Those are the two I need to prove congruent. I'll see you in about 1.5 minutes in your groups. Talk about it. How do I prove them congruent? Again, this is great practice for tomorrow. I'll ask you to prove triangles congruent in your proofs tomorrow. Why are they congruent? Already gave you a pair of sides.
Did you give him bisector before it said SAS and then
Oh, wait, no.
no, I think okay.
Okay, how are you guys getting them congruent? I already have a pair of sides. I gave you that in the givens. One pair of sides is given. 12, what else do you have?
Oh. AI equals AI.
Yep. Another pair of sides. Okay, one more pair of something. Where is it? What other pair is congruent? One spot.
Angle BAI is congruent to angle CAI.
Yep. How?
Bisector.
That's all I'm going to write, Matt, is bisector.
Definition of bisector.
That's all right. There you go. Thank you. Definition of bisector. Looks good. What's my method now of saying the triangles are congruent here? 3. What just came out of your mouth?
Angle. Oh, wait, side angle side.
That goes on tomorrow. Little nice essay about Lucy there. All right, and saying this is how you treated the math community. Disrespectful. BAI congruent to triangle CAI. Side angle. Oh my God. You want what is it again? Is that going to be on your paper tomorrow?
No.
Is that going to be on your paper tomorrow?
No.
What are the only 4 that are going to be on your paper? There you go. Angle ABI is now congruent to angle ACI. Also tomorrow, CPCTC should be nowhere on your quiz, right? It's not covered tomorrow. CPCTC will not be covered on the quiz. That was a moment right there. That was a moment. Questions? Somebody had to do it, so it's all right. You just took a grenade. Are we all good? Are we sure? I am going to check your homework tomorrow. All right, I don't think it's much, right? Oh, geez, 4 problems. Wow. All right, I'll be here after school today if you need to go over anything. All right, stop on in. Again, we all good for tomorrow? Here are the only 4 methods that'll be on there. I know we have one more left, but that's not until after quiz, post quiz. All right, oh, yeah, we got 10 minutes. Let's get going on those 4. Let it roll off the tongue a couple times. CPCTC. CPCTC.